Mr. Guest, we're live apparently. Let's quickly, I always do a little sound check. So you can say hello whilst I'm doing the sound check.
Awesome that we are live. Really looking forward to this session where we're going to throw the boomerang out there and add loads of value, which is what you and I always do. So let's just hit the ground running and get going with it as people start to click in.
So sound check done. So they're coming loud and clear. We've got we've got 2 viewers now. Let's let a few build up. Whilst everyone's coming in, before I do a little intro, I'm really pleased to see that you've still got electricity and that you've managed to join us on the live today. How many times have you heard that from people based in the UK because you're sitting in Jersey?
Well, I'm not actually on the power. We're on a backup generator. That's how we've still got the lights on.
No excuses.
So I wouldn't have missed it for the world. So we had a backup generator in place just in case we couldn't come on the ordinary power today. But
just in case, France flick the switch, one of them ones. Awesome.
Yeah.
So we've got a few people clicking in now. So a quick intro. My name is Perry Power. I've managed to nab Mr. Guest for a live today because I wanted to really talk about for all the things that have been going great over the last few months for the property industry as a whole. You know, it's been a battering 18 months for everybody, I think, everywhere. We were very fortunate that the government allowed the property market to continue, but that caused its own problems as well. And it's just been a real, for a lot of people, a real reset. So Royston's my coach, and I nabbed him and said, look, let's get in the group and let's add loads of value. And he said, let me cover the 6 things people should be doing to grow their business right now. So I thought it was a great topic. 2 quick things to mention. At the end, we're going to be talking, we've got 2 really good surprises for you. One is Royston's got a gift, and we'll chat about that in a bit. And then we've got some big news, which all the estate agents in this group hopefully will be really pleased to hear. So let's kick off. And a quick background is, for those that have been in the group a while, know that Royston's my coach. I read his book. Long story short, read the book, stalked the shit out of him, and now he's my coach. So the 2017 Power Bespoke had a bit of a wobble, and now we're back on track. This period we've had to make some changes, like every business has probably in the world right now. Some good, some bad, some tough, but everyone's still sitting here pumping, wanting to grow, and let's do it. So RG, let's talk about the 6 things that every business should be doing right now.
Number 1, momentum. Let's talk momentum to start with, Perry, because I work in the estate agency market, but also across broad sector. And I think the first thing is momentum is a powerful force when it's working for you. And the great thing is, coming out of pandemic, of course, in the estate agency market, there's been pent up demand. But what I'm finding with a lot of my estate agency clients now is that they've had the stock, it's come through, and they're selling really quickly in terms of the turnaround. But actually now there's a challenge because trying to get quality stock, it's classic supply and demand, which always happens in industries, that you can't get enough stock now to sell because your throughput in your pipeline is working really well, but the problem now is getting stock front end. So the momentum, you've got to make hay while the sun shines, and the market is there at the moment. But there is this challenge of stock that I think it'd be worthwhile just talking about a few minutes, because I've had 3 sessions this week where I've been talking about you've got to hustle like crazy. And the challenge is, when the market is buoyant, it's almost like you can be order takers. When you get to the situation now where you're trying to fight for stock, guess what? Price becomes more challenging and you're having to hustle, and you've got to think about your different strategies. It's not like a few months ago where you might have had an abundance of stock and the pipeline's going through. So I think it's just worth taking a couple of minutes, Perry, to talk about what can you do in your business to make sure that you are getting your vals, you're getting your listings, and you're pumping your pipeline, and that you're building that momentum and maintaining that momentum whilst we've still got this holiday period where people can really optimize and buy in a good market. So
yeah, we'll touch on one point a bit later, but this is the age-old problem with estate agency, which is the kind of feast and famine. When you're busy selling, because it's so busy with stock, you've not got time to replenish your stock. And when you're busy with trying to get stock, because you're like, damn, I've not got enough stock at the minute, I better get hustling, you then not got enough time to focus on selling. So it's that real feast and famine of the importance of a structured week as well. We'll touch on that probably later on in the 6 things that everyone should be doing right now.
Yeah.
But so real kind of
Perry,
tangible takeaways.
Sorry, Perry. There's just one other, but I think the dynamics are slightly different now because actually getting stock and selling it is not the challenge. It's kind of your throughput through your pipeline is probably faster than it's been in a long time, and your conversion rates as it's going through your pipeline. The problem is there's a scarcity of stock. So the question for me is, what are the multiple strategies that you can do at the front end of your business in order to get your share of the vals and the listings that are potentially out there? So for example, I was talking to one of my clients and they've got their team. It's the age-old boundary of paradigm mindset shifts. They've got their people working on key postcode areas. And I said to her, why don't you just widen your geographical reach? If the market, don't fish in a pond if the marketplace is small, broaden it out and go into a lake, because the traditional boundaries of where you can sell are not limited to where your office is or traditional postcode areas that you're working within. And I know you sold a house in, where was it, Northumberland? Northumberland this week?
Northumberland, yeah.
Yeah, and you're Gatwick. So, and she was like, great idea. And it doesn't mean that she's going massively off patch. She's just broadening the boundaries within the areas that she's in and moving into other areas. She's already started doing it and she's already starting to see the benefits of it. So I think you've really got to think about what are all those hustle strategies that you can do at the front end.
I think there's a couple of things with that. So that's a real legacy mindset shift from estate agency needs to be geographical. Now, I'm a massive preacher of, I genuinely believe that the local expert is going to be replaced by the marketing and negotiation expert. Local knowledge is no longer needs to be the top priority for a good estate agent. It's good to have it, I get it, but I valued the house perfectly fine in Northumberland, sitting from a home office in Gatwick. We put it on the market. We marketed it really well. It'd been kicking around with some local agents for ages, and we got it on. Rob Emery, one of our agents, was handling it. He got it under offer really quick. Now, that's because my saying is, when the pie gets smaller, bake yourself a bigger pie. And every agency has these opportunities come to them, because this was an example of someone coming to us saying, we've kept our eye on you. We really like the way you market properties. Can you please sell our property in Northumberland? And I said, well, our fees are 2% and the property's 450. So that's a £9,000 fee. She was like, that's fine. Just get it sold. Why would I turn that away when we had no cost to acquire, no marketing costs? She would really wanted us to handle the sale. So definitely increase your boundaries a bit, spread the net a bit wider.
Yeah, it's a great strategy. So I think in this, build momentum in your business. And when you've got that momentum, it creates the cadence. But if you're making this practical, Perry, one thing I would say is go away and make a list. If you're in that position where a lot of estate agents are at the moment, where they've sold a lot of their stock and suddenly there's this kind of famine at the front end with getting more vals, getting the listings and getting stock on, then you've got to really think about, what are my hustling strategies? So go and create a list of all the things that you should be doing. So are you optimizing switcher opportunities in the market? We know that whatever the statistic is, 56% of houses or whatever the national average is don't sell with a first estate agent. Where are the properties on that you can go and speak to the owners, give them your 11-step plan and actually convert them over and sell that property quickly just with a new facelift, photographs, etc.? Where are all the vals that you've done potentially in the past that haven't come to market? Are you going back through your pipeline of opportunities? And it's about creating that list of what are all the multiple strategies. What are you doing with your prospecting? You've got to hustle and you've got to put in the hard yards and you've got to maintain that momentum, because the opportunities are out there. And if you're not doing it, guess what? Your competitors will be.
There was I had our quarterly Rightmove account review with our account manager, and I'm not one of these bash Rightmove people, but we won't touch on that because I'll have a load of enemies in a minute. But I really like our Rightmove account manager, and we've been really lucky because she's not an ex-estate agent trying to tell us how to be an estate agent. And that's what I find really patronising with a lot of Rightmove account managers. It was actually her background's Amazon. She worked at the digital team at Amazon, and she brings so much fresh thinking to the table. I love meeting with her, but I was shocked and flabbergasted and disappointed and annoyed that she was telling me that from the property inquiry, so we obviously advertise houses for sale, people inquire about them. We've had 489 inquiries where people have got their own property to sell, and we've only converted 7% of those into clients. So we're doing all this lovely, flashy digital marketing and stuff, and actually we need to go back to basics and be like, well, she said best in class is 15%. And I was like, really? Like 15 in 100? Surely we can do better than that. So I've set our kind of KPI for a business. We're already paying Rightmove to advertise listings. These inquiries that are coming through is kind of free money because you can convert them into clients. So I've set our KPI at like 20%. I want to be better than best in class, and I want to be converting 2 in 10 into signed clients. That means we've got to get double the amount of appraisals out of those people. But then the question comes, how? And that's the easy part. I love the word how, because that's all you got to solve, isn't it, in anything?
Yeah, and you lead me on to the second idea. So idea number 1 is the power of momentum. Make it work. Get the cadence and the rhythm right in your business. And when you get that positive forward momentum, the energy, then, you know, where focus goes, energy flows. And it's such a powerful force when it's working for you. The second idea links into the point, and Perry, you know, a compliment to you. This is the one thing that you are brilliant at in your business, which is idea 2. Great leaders, great business owners are data driven, and data's the new oil. You've got to be all over your numbers and your dashboard and looking at what your benchmarks should be in terms of conversion rates, and not just looking at what the industry standards are. Because one thing that we've always done, Perry, is we've gone, what's the industry standard, and let's put a multiplier on it, because we don't want to be the industry standard. We don't want to be mediocre. We don't want to subscribe to the herd mentality of what everybody else is doing. But you've got to know your numbers, and it still surprised me, not just in a estate agency, but across business in general, how people, leaders, have not got a handle on their data. And data takes the emotion out of your decision making. Data creates clarity. Data creates certainty in knowing what are the levers that you've got to pull and press in your business. And, you know, paying you the compliment, you've got, I mean, our conversations we have now are so easy because we look at the data and we get the insight and draw the insight and the story out of the data, what's it telling us? And then we make informed decisions about what we need to change from a cultural or behavioral perspective that's going to allow us to drive the business forward. So you've got to get your business dashboards right and use data to inform your thinking, to create certainty, and also to allow you to move at speed in how you drive your business forward. And I always say, you know, the leaders today, the decisive leader is leading through data, knowledge, and insight. The data leads to knowledge, and it's how you translate that insight into action. So that is absolutely my number 2 golden nugget idea for today.
It's really, I mean, it's really good touch on that, because we've, as we know, we probably embarked on our Salesforce migration at the wrong time ever, the start of 2020. But if there's never a good time to migrate your whole business operations onto a whole new platform, but one that our meetings are now screen share, run the dashboard, what's it saying? And it's all led from the data. But it's really important to know that we managed to build up to the stage of being able to use a powerful thing like Salesforce. And remember, there's things out there for agents that need to get their number. Because one of the first things we spoke about when you started coaching me was, you know, go away and get your numbers. I can't do anything. I can't help you on anything until I know the numbers. So I was in Excel sheets, and then I had that built into a software as a service called Agents Dash for agents that are in that 200,000 to 300,000 revenue. Probably they're probably not going to warrant Salesforce because it's a big old chunk of a commitment. So just bear in mind, there's tools out there like Agents Dash, which can literally bring your whole business workflow numbers into a dashboard, or just
and it's not a conversation for today, Perry, but we need to do something with Salesforce, because when I look at your dashboards now, you are like the McLaren of the estate agency world. You know, when you think about every single piece of data that you need that allows you to deliver elite high performance, you've got that data in real time, whether that's as a business, whether it's looking at individual agent performance. You can cut skin, dissect your data 360 degrees, all different ways. And that just puts you in such a strong position. Now, the first thing I do with Pathways every single morning is I go onto all my dashboards that I've got. We put them on the TV screens behind us. Chart Mogul, we've got all our dashboards built in, and I can see what our AMR is. I can look at our what our conversion rates are, how many free trials we've had, how many subscribers to the platform. It's just the data insight, and then you kind of have conversations with the digital team about how it's working. So you've got to get all over the data and numbers. That is absolutely number 2 in terms of our second idea that we're sharing today.
Could I just quickly rewind and touch on 2 more practicals for the first point, really quick, because I know
of course
I'm like off on a waffle, but it's really important that now's as better time as ever. I have agents message me all the time saying I'm looking to implement an onward negotiation strategy, and where we help. So what we do at Power Bespoke is we not only get the client the highest possible price on the sale, we help them negotiate the lowest possible price on the purchase, and then we charge them a percentage of saving. There's no better time than right now to get that rolled out across your business, because you can make your £3,000 or £4,000 or £5,000 average client fee become more like, well, £2,000-3,000 on average more on top of your average fee. So that's really important.
I've just done that with another client, Perry, and they did one of the an onward power next deal. And the onward pound X deal, don't quote me on the exact figures. I think they got £3,500 for the sale of the property, and they got £5,200 from the onward neg. The onward neg was worth more than what we would classify as the traditional, resi sale on the property. Couldn't believe it. Absolutely smashed it out of the park. You're absolutely right. If you're struggling to get stock on and your listings, then optimize and maximize and add more value to the existing relationships that you've got. And our onward power egg service, which we've created, it's such a powerful way of doing it. It's a no-brainer.
That's also really important in that I see it so often when markets tightens up, pants get pulled down. So when people think that market's tougher, let's just go 0.75 on our fees for a while, or 1% from 1.5%. These are the times when you should be pushing your fees up. And what you actually do if you pull your fees down is you end up needing to list more and more houses in what is a tough market for listings to even hit the targets that you were hitting last year. So
yeah,
the message there is just don't get worried and lower your fees, stack your proposition and put the fees up.
Yeah, and Perry, if people, I know you use it as you've got a distinct service with the onward negotiation where it's 20% of the saving that we get on your onward purchase. For others, they might not be as bold and courageous in terms of where they're at with their business to do that. But picking up on the point that you're making, there's another great defensive strategy of defending your fee, whether it's 1.25, 1.5 or 2%, which is do the onward negotiation service in order to defend the fee that you're charging at the front end. So it doesn't have to be that you're doing it as a standalone value add at the back end in terms of 20% saving. You can actually do it to defend your fees at the front end and actually build it in.
That's how I started the service. So early doors, it was my fees are 2% because I negotiate you a saving on your purchase as well.
And the average saving is X that we will get on your onward negotiation.
16,294 to be exact.
Yeah.
But it's really important to. But then some people weren't buying on, so I was taking that away. So definitely use that to stack your proposition at the minute to defend your fee, and then in time start to bolt it on as an additional. Because we have some buyers come through our door that don't end up buying a house with us, but they do take us up on the search and secure service. So it's really, by hook or by crook, you need to get that service rolled out about now. Don't drop your standards and your fees through fear. Fear is a terrible thing, isn't it? But actually, if you go the other way, then it'll pay dividends. Because also that 0.75% for the next 10 listings campaign that you're going to put out there, that's going to stick with you long after this drought is over. There'll be people ringing you back in 2 years' time saying, you sold my friend's house 0.75%. Why aren't you doing the same for me? And the other point is markets like this, I've seen it. I was hustling through the 07-08 time, which was probably that was the opposite to this kind of market. There was too much supply because people were selling because of financial difficulty and banking crisis. But these are the markets that can turn agents from good to great. So any kind of agent at the minute, you ain't got to be that good to list a house and flick it on the market when the market's pumping and But when it's like now, this is where a good agent can become great, and it will see them through for years and years and years.
Spot on. And a good friend of mine, Chris Brindley, he used to be the regional director for NatWest Bank. And he always used to say, in a good market, what you have in your team is a load of order takers. He said, in a tight market, you find out who are your true sales professionals and negotiators. And I thought that is so true. Who are the people who are going to be prepared to roll up the sleeves, get in the arena, go out there, make it hassle, that they'll hustle, that they will pivot, that they've got the resilience to do whatever it takes, and they're prepared to go the extra mile. And you've got loads of those in your team. And think about Mel. She's out there every single day, pumping it, all your team, Perry. And you've just got to be prepared to put the hard yards in. And that's the difference, because in a tough marketplace, you've got to put your foot to the pedal. You've got to move through the gears, and you've got to be out there adding more value to clients, going the extra mile, hustling, and making it happen.
I just want to touch on as well about technical brilliance, right? So I'm obsessed by estate agency, everything about it, what it does for people, but more importantly, the difference between a good agent and a technically brilliant estate agent. And what I mean by that is an example, and it's really important right now. I don't get too in the detail, but I'm doing some training next week for our agents and the Power Agent members about client progression strategies.
Yeah.
So situation recently, had a client contact me, didn't need to sell it until September, right? This is really important stuff, guys. Listen to this. So she didn't need to sell it until September, maybe even November, depending when her tenant moves out. Had a really good chat with her, sent her a proposal. She's like, Perry, brilliant news. It's a £1.5 million house, and it's 2% is my fee. And she was like, great, I'll call you as soon as my tenants are out and we'll get cracking. So if I had said, no worries, great news, I look forward to hearing from you. I've done it over the years, and then in September, I get a notification saying that the house has gone on the market with so-and-so estate agents, right? And that used to really annoy me, keep this clean in case there's children in the room. And I thought, the natural reaction is, bloody people, she promised me she'll come back to me. The reality is another agent got in front of her and was technically better than you at converting and closing that client. So this time I was like, no chance. I was like, no worries, Jenny, just sign the proposal now, and then I can start gearing up your property for a big market launch in September, October or November. And in the meantime, if I get anybody who's really keen on a 4-bed detached, 2,500 square foot gated parking in Weybridge, I'll give you a call. Is that all right? She was like, oh my God, that'd be great. So now she's signed, done, put a bow around it, stick it on the back burner. So
great strategy.
And there's so many of those, which that is technical brilliance as an estate agent, because I'm no Lord Sugar, we know this, but I'm a pretty good estate agent. And she's now on my client list. I'll speak to her every couple of weeks to keep her on the boil and keep her on the bubble, and happy days. So stuff like that, get technically brilliant again.
Yeah, but Perry, that's also playing the medium and long-term game as well, because you're in it to win it, and you want to add value. And those strategies like that, I mean, they're so simple, but they're so powerful. And it is just about how you hustle and pivot and just think about different ways of doing stuff. It's that different mindset. Here's the second. I'm conscious of time, Perry. Here's the third golden nugget idea that I think is really important. And you've heard me talk about this before, but it's that whole day one mentality and day one thinking. And just a quick caveat of where it came from. When Jeff Bezos in 2017 was doing his shareholder report, the headline for the shareholder report said this: Amazon is a day one business. Now, bear in mind, this was 2017. Amazon had been going 20 years, set up in 1994, in fact, more than 20 years, 1994 in the back, in the garage of his house in America. And the headline said this underneath: Amazon is a day one business because day two is status, day three is irrelevance, day four is excruciating, painful decline, and day five is death. So Amazon is always a day one business. And what that means in the context of this point is simply this, that you've got to reinvent yourself. And the pandemic has done one thing for us all, which is about how you press the reset button and how you really think about, are you a relevant estate agency business that is relevant for your customers and clients today? Are you best in class? Are you technical geniuses about not only what you do, but how you do it. And I think that whole relevance question in terms of relevance as a business, relevance as a leader, relevance as an estate agent is more important than ever. And I think there's a great opportunity to make this practical, Perry, that one of the things I did with one of my clients this week was did the exercise that said, what have you learned from pandemic? What have you learned that are important principles that you can take forward that will carry you through, that's going to make you a better, more relevant, more agile, more resilient business moving forward? And it was things like, one thing they said to me was, Royston, we didn't have enough reserves. We hit a pandemic, we did not have 3 or 6 months reserves that we built up over time. So that was a key thing that they talked about. They talked about the whole thing about, isn't it interesting that in bad times, you suddenly go and look at your cost base? And we took money out of our cost base, but do you know what? Without the pandemic, we could have probably taken 10%, 15% out of our cost base. We were just being lazy in terms of what we were doing. They talked about the things about what could we insource versus outsource, and how they outsource marketing, and they outsource the people strategy now because they were formed a relationship with Peninsula. So my challenge is that, are you really thinking about a day one business that is relevant, that is agile, that is resilience built into your model? And I think if you answer those 3 questions under that umbrella of day one business, it really challenges you to make sure that you are best in class. That when people think about selling the house, when they think about onward negotiation, the instant default is to think about you, your business, your brand in the local area that you're serving. Or maybe not just in the local area, as the case in point with Northumberland.
Yeah, that's a great thing with the modern world now, is your boundary is set by you. Nobody else, isn't it? Back in the day, your boundary was set by the fact that you had a high street shop, and homeowners would only really discover you if you were sitting on the high street. It's really different now. It's particularly for a estate agent and any business. Cool. What's the next one?
High performance weeks.
Oh yeah, talking my language, Mr. Guest.
High performance weeks, and I know you love this concept, but again, and it was an estate agency business that I did yesterday, and the owner said to me, Royston, she's moved away from doing all the listings herself, and she's got a team who do the listings now, and it's almost like she's lost the purpose. It's like, what is it? If I'm not doing the listings, what am I supposed to do now? So we sat down yesterday and we went, right, purpose, and we went through and created 4 buckets of the things that, like, the headline things that should shape her high performance week. And there was things about, like, building a world-class estate agency. What does that look like? So one of the things I talked about yesterday is, who are best in class, who are really nailing it out there in the marketplace? So who would you go and look at? Power Bespoke. Nice little punt there. But also I talked about Living Room in Jersey. So Living Room, who are only work in Jersey, single office estate agency, but they've been voted the most the number 1 estate agency in the UK last year. Innovative, smashing it out of the park. Where they do really well in Jersey is they absolutely smash it. Where other people can't sell properties, Living Room come in, pick the properties up, and literally they fly off the shelf. They've got a really great strategy for that switcher strategy, which just works. So I said to her, you've got to design, and this is not just for your team, all of us, and even for me, the first thing I do on a Monday morning is sit down with Helene, my EA, and we go through and look at the high performance week, where I'm spending my time. I have 4 buckets that I spend my time in terms of coaching, consultancy, working on the business, looking at marketing and sales. They're my 4 buckets, and I allocate time that I should be spending each week against those buckets. And then we go through what the strategies are in there and look at where I'm spending my time. All my Outlook diary is color coded, so it shows when I look at it, I can see as a visual on the week how much time I'm spending each of the buckets. So life is for living with deliberate, conscious intent. It's about making every hour, every day count, and that is about not leaving it to chance. You've got to be conscious and deliberate about thinking about what is worthy of your time, what should be consuming your focus and thinking. Not just focus on being busy, but being focused on being productive. So the big one for me is you've got to own and design with conscious intent as the architect of your own destiny, your high performance weeks. I know you buy into that, Perry. Here he goes.
Come on. No, on a serious note, I think the whole recent firefighting has been, I'm I've had to revert back to the planner that I even designed for myself and the rest of our team, like just to bring myself back to structure again. Because at times like they've been, you're at home, you know, you've got the kids indoors and you've got clients needing you, you've got team members needing you. And there's, for high performing weeks, whether it's an estate agent like me or it's a coach or consultant like you, we've got 4 buckets as well. We've got prospect, list, service and sell. Like that's pretty much the 4 areas. So, and that's why the Mondays are a client contact, that's service. Fridays are prospecting, new business, working on the business, looking at your marketing, whatever you want to call it. That's on a Friday. And then the middle one, the listing and the selling, is in the middle. That's the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's when you've got a free diary and people can pull and push you wherever you want, just as long as they ain't before 12 o'clock. So I let my standards slip during, you know, because you're through fear. There's always a reason why I'm going to put that in for Monday because they're so keen to get on the market. If they're that keen, go and see them 9 o'clock on a Monday after your client contact's been done. Because don't do that and you're in trouble because you're losing more clients out the back door than you're putting in the front door. So it's, you're not looking after them. So I'm a massive fan. I've just actually redesigned this. I've got the Power Planner 2.0 being printed as we speak. It's a lot thinner, but it also covers quarterly. So each plan is for a quarter and it's really, really mad stuff. It's so good. Structured week. And Georgie, our ops manager, she's got her own kind of high performing week. Me and her a video call Mondays for the set up the week ahead, because during the week I'm helping out agents and I'm listing and selling my own houses as well. So it's unless you manage your time, someone else will manage it for you, I think is the bottom line, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there's a great quote that says, time flies, but the great news is you're the pilot.
Yeah. Own
it. And when you get your high performance week right, you are so purposeful about what you're doing. And everything is purposeful. You're adding value. It's like you sent me an email earlier this week and went, Guesty, what we're talking about on Thursday, let's get it shaped. We got a title and we've come into this with 6 key ideas we wanted to share because we want to add so much value for you. We want you to go away with just either positive reinforcement and go, oh, I need to do more of that, or there might be one golden nugget that you pick up. And if you go away from this session with just one key idea from Perry and I that you're going to take away and implement, then it's great value. And even not, it might be that you just feel more energized and enthused from having been on the session and being engaged in what we're talking about. So your high performance weeks allow you to be purposeful and make sure that you are optimizing and making every minute, every hour, every day count, which is what life's about.
The only thing, right, that I'm, apart from actually being a technically good estate agent, which I'm happy to say that. I'm not big-headed about it. I've just been doing it since I was 15. And if I'm 34 now, if I can't say I'm good at it, I've been wasting a lot of time. But other than being an estate agent, the only thing that I'm really good at is brutally sticking to a structure. I put learning time in my diary, whether it's catching up on some of your lives, because you do your lives a bit early for me at 7:07 in the morning. Whether it's listening to the latest podcast that you've been doing with the guy from Reebok, which is epic. Like, I put that in the diary. That was well good. What I found really interesting about that is he's just an average Joe. His name is Joe Foster. Look, he is. But that's what I love about business and success and structure. Anyone, you ain't got to have a degree to stick to a plan that you set up yourself for a week. It really ain't that hard.
Perry, I'll send you the link for you to be able to put in below for later so that people can get that podcast. So what Perry's talking about is Talking Pathways, which is my fortnightly podcast series. The last interview was Joe Foster, the founder of Reebok. He brought out a book in October called Shoemaker. Honestly, that's my read at the moment.
Good.
But it's a brilliant interview. I mean, I could have talked to him for hours. The guy is just a fountain of knowledge and a walking. But I tell you what you learn from him in terms of hustling and persistence and determination. Fantastic story. Real world entrepreneur who just made shit happen. It's a great story. But Perry, we're coming on to my 5th idea now because you've just touched on it. Growth mindset. I always say to people, what's on the corner of your desk? So on the corner of my desk, which are the 3 things that I dip into and read at the moment. One is Shoemaker. The second is Reed Hastings of Netflix, which is about no rules, which is about the whole culture of Netflix. And the third that I'm reading is Blitzscaling, which is Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn. So it's about having the growth mindset. The day you stop learning is the day you stop earning. Let me say that again, because it's so important. The day you stop learning is the day you stop earning. And your success in business, in life, will be absolutely in direct proportion to the amount of time you invest in your own personal growth and your own personal development. Businesses don't grow on their own, leaders grow businesses. And the challenge for so many businesses is that the growth of the business, the leader's mindset and personal growth is lagging behind the growth of the business. And therefore the business flatlines. Why is your business so successful, Perry? Because you've got a coach, because you're constantly learning, because you've got an insatiable thirst for challenging yourself to be the best that you can be. And you make time to do the self-developments, to focus on the growth, to challenge yourself to be the best that you can be. And honestly, if there's one thing I share today, it is simply this, that the common denominator, having worked with literally tens of thousands of high achievers, is the people who are smashing it out in the park are the ones that will always talk to me about, oh, Royston, what you're reading, what you're listening to at the moment. They are the ones who have just got that thirst for learning, for bettering themselves to be the best that they can be. So if you've not got a personal growth plan and you're not investing time in your own growth and development, then that is your number one action to take away from today.
Yeah, love that. Number 6.
And what's the number 6 final idea, and then we'll talk about a bonus that I'm going to give everybody today in terms of loads of content that they can go and immerse themselves in, which will fit with that whole growth mindset. The final one is this: bite-sized goals. And there's a really interesting post, and I can't remember her name, but she talked about she set herself a goal of how many houses that she wanted to sell in the year. She set a bar really high. She set a BHAG goal, big, hairy, audacious goal, and she smashed it out the park. I think the number was, don't quote me, 696 houses she'd sold in the year. But the reason she'd done it was because people who set goals, who set aspirations that they want to achieve, they break the records that they set. And I think it's really important that you absolutely think about, we are already in May this year. What does success look like by the end of this year? If you got to December the 24th and you sat down and you were doing a playback and looking at the playbook of the year of 2021, and you were looking back at what you'd achieved, what would you be talking about? And I'm a massive advocate of setting those stretch goals, stretching the mind. The mind once stretched never returns to its original dimension. And then spending every single day hunting down those goals, taking massive action, having a bias for action, and turning those goals into reality. So my question is, what's the focus? Where focus goes, energy flows. Have you got clear goals personally and professionally about what success in 2021 looks like, and what success at the end of this year, if it was the 24th of December and you were celebrating success, what would you be writing down that you've achieved?
I think as that's mad, because that also ties in with the power planner. But for the estate agents on this, is that estate agency is probably the easiest industry in the world to reverse engineer, because it's literally, if you agree and 80% of the sale of the listings you put on the market to sale agreed, and you're exchanging out on 80% of those, and you're converting at 50% bums on seats, Zoom appraisals, however we're doing it now, it's so easy to be like, great, I need to get 5 appraisals a week, or my average. But if I improve more and get my conversion from 30% to 50%, I've only got to do 3. It's such a, we built, do you remember that we built from your sales map that you introduced to us when you first started coaching us? We built our own, how much you want to earn this year? 200 grand I want to earn. Great. Let's bang that in the thing. Your conversion when you start off, because you've got no experience, you're going to go through our training of about 30%. If you've been an agent for years and years, you'll be at 50, 60%. And it just is so good.
Yeah, and Perry, and I'm going to caveat what I'm going to say next by, I know there are industries where businesses have been absolutely decimated through pandemic, particularly when you talk about hospitality and nightclubs and sports clubs where they've just not been able to operate. I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of businesses over the last 12 months who have been able to continue to trade, who have been pivoting like crazy. And honestly, some of my clients have absolutely smashed it out the park over the last 12 months. And it's only because of the focus, the energy, the commitment, and because they followed the recipe for success in how to grow and scale their business. So success is not an accident. And the great thing is, in life, success leaves clues. And when you start to join it up, and when you get that momentum right in your business, and when you follow a proven formula for how to grow and scale your business, then do you know what? Success is only a question of when, not a question of if.
Yeah, I love that.
So we've been on, can you believe we've been on 40 minutes?
That's what happens when the P and the G get together.
Hey, so one question, what's your one key golden nugget that you're taking away from this session? And the second thing is, there's going to be a link that we'll put in down below. I've just finished recording a four-part video series that is about 45 minutes of content that's broken down over 4 different sessions. It's all about purposeful leadership. It's all about change the game, change your life. What are the levers that you can press and pull in your business in order to drive the growth? It's all about why your future starts now and getting yourself in the driver's seat of your life. It's really practical, implementable stuff that you will instantly be able to take away. It's completely free. All you need to do is, the link will be down below. Click on the link and it will take you through to sign up for the 4-part video series. It's epic, and it will just give you practical golden nuggets that you'll instantly be able to take away and apply. And there's one thing in there where I share my formula for growth, which is about 6 growth levers. And that alone has the potential to put hundreds, thousands of pounds on your bottom line revenue and profitability if you implement it right in your business. And it's completely free through the 4-part video series.
I think I've been through those, and I think they're epic. As in, like, I watched one of them and I was like, hang on, that's what Royston was actually coaching me 1-to-1 when he was coaching me for Power Bespoke. There's some really high level stuff in there that is really valuable. So definitely jump on that. And what I'll do, because this is being streamed from onto my page, into the Power Agent, into your group, and to YouTube, I'll make sure me and Cara go around and put the links on all these different streams.
Brilliant.
And good timing. Do you know what? We've been waffling, right? And they've had a few comments come in. So let's go through some comments quick. So Mel early doors was in. She put, hello, gents. I can hear you. Emery was in saying, well, howdy. A hi both from somebody, but I can't see the name. Mel commented, I think it must have been when I mentioned about stalking you a little bit. And then she put, and then I stalked the X out of Perry and Royston. Rob Smith said, howdy. Rob Smith said, my pants are well and truly belt and braces, staying up. So he's clearly not putting his fees down during this tougher time. Another comment, I'm not sure who that was, like old times. I still use the planner. Amazing. Who is that said that? Because it is career changing, the Power Planner. I think a lot of estate agents, unfortunately, are content with just being busy. But I see a lot of agents that they're not being, busy bees, not being productive. And one tip on the structure, right, is when you get into, I've got my once a week tennis lesson. That's a non-negotiable anymore because I'm destined to come to Jersey at some point and smash you on your own tennis court, Mr. Guest. And then
no chance.
And then
any day, bring it on.
And then I've got my learning time every week. And then I've got Freddie's just started doing swimming lessons, and I want to take him on a Thursday morning. When you put all these things in, there ain't a lot of time to focus on other stuff. And so you can't get dragged down by the clients that want 0.5%. Unless you want to run yourself ragged, or if you want to miss out on your tennis lesson or your kids swimming lesson or your learning time or your, so it's so important. And then someone's put, can I get version 2.0? You certainly can. I'll make sure when they're printed, I'll get one out to you. And then we had the story join. He put, hi chat.
Story.
I love you both. And then he puts, go on.
And there's a great business that is absolutely smashing it out the park. Ian, I mean, talk about somebody who is, it's amazing with the right mindset, attitude, and philosophy. I mean, he sold his business in Blackpool, set up in a brand new area, and he is absolutely smashing it out the park. Just proves what can be done.
I mean, he messaged me the other night with his end of Q1 figures, and they will blow your mind, right? And what's important to understand here is that when he comes to our first, and we'll come on this, but his story's just everything that you want in somebody that is open-minded, throwing his own spin on stuff, but not diverting too far off of the success leads clues kind of thing. So you and I with Power Bespoke, we've done and are doing the kind of trialing and making the mistakes because there's nothing to model ourselves on. Whereas Story's done amazingly. He's modeled a little bit on Power Bespoke, avoided the errors that I've made whilst we've been trying to grow it, and he's just killing it. And it's so nice to see. And
yeah, well, Perry, and what's always great as well with Ian, Perry, is that if you think about it, he's not doing it at the expense of his family life. He's family orientated, kids, still does the date nights with his wife. It's great to see because he's got the balance right as well, and it just proves that personal and professional success can be bedfellows. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You've just got to be conscious and deliberate about how you design your life and make sure that you're achieving both. Yeah.
And we've got there another one. Ian said, so true at reverse engineering. Rob Smith, correct. Well done, guys. Sally's in the house. Sally. So that's a really good thing. He said about pivoting. We pivoted during lockdown and said we need a stronger letting side. We need to find someone to really help grow the lettings. And then Sally came into our lives at Power Bespoke, and she's just epic, taking care of it, improving the letting side, whilst I focus on what I'm strongest at, which is the sales side with the agents. So it's really, really important.
And Perry, I know we don't want to go on too long, but the whole letting side, we could talk about that for hours. But if you really want to get intrinsic value in your business and build a more resilient business, a lot of my estate agency clients that I'm working with now, they are building big lettings businesses because then the power of the resi sales and lettings working together, which gives you recurring stability revenue coming into your business. The power of those two and that recipe working together is a powerful force. So I'm a massive advocate of building a resi and a lettings business in unison in order to build that resilience.
So the final surprise for a lot of people that are on this live is that we are trying our very damnedest.
We need a drum roll
to get the boot camp back from October, November time. And that is going to be. Story was like, come on, guys, when are you done a boot camp? And the good thing with, it's been chaotic for everybody in it, but and by that time, obviously, we've got baby number 4 due the end of August. So I'm hoping timing for everything, for every reason, end of year, preview, review, all that kind of stuff. We can do all that with everybody at the boot camp at the end of October, hopefully a bit more safer, October, November time. So keep your eyes peeled on that because I'm so excited for that.
It's long overdue. We need to get back out there. We need to get back in hopefully a room environment with a load of like-minded people where we can just immerse ourselves for a couple of days, add a load of shitload of value, and help you to really grow and scale your businesses and just give you that recipe and success formula, and also that injection in the arm from being surrounded by like-minded people. Because success is not just about the strategies and the tools; it's about the winning mentality and the mindset. I talk a lot about success is 80% psychology, 20% skill. So I'm really excited to get boot camps back. It's been long overdue.
Yeah, agreed.
So if you're interested in boot camps, drop Perry a message and say, put me on the list, please, for when you formally announce the dates for the boot camp, and we'll make sure that we keep you posted with what's coming out and the dates.
We've just had Story put 3 tickets, front table, say no more. So I think he wants to be at the front again, Royston. Should we put him at the back for a laugh? We'll stick him in the room next door. Rob wants to get on the list. Emery's saying, great, boot camp, can't wait. So I think we'll start making tracks of that. Drop me a message if anyone wants the information. We are a little way off yet, but we will, in amongst the other madness, we'll get organised on that, I think, shouldn't we?
Yeah. And definitely go in the interim, go and click on and get the 4-part video series, and make sure that you follow my stuff on Facebook and LinkedIn, because there's loads of stuff we're doing. Fast Track Friday, Talking Pathways podcast series. There is loads of stuff we're doing, throwing the boomerang out there. And Perry, let's I really enjoyed this. Let's make sure we jump on in again in the near future, and we do another just impromptu value add session where we just do this and we talk, because everybody will always get one golden nugget out of these sessions.
Yeah, love that. Awesome. 49 minutes, 44 seconds. I think we've done all right, because normally we waffle for like a couple of hours, but that's good. Great work.
Brilliant.
Thanks for coming on, Royston. Really good to see you.
And you.
We'll say peace out, and we'll see everyone soon.
See you. Bye-bye.
See you later.